Wagwan Why in the Morning family. This is Why in the Morning, and we're all about pushing the culture forward. That's why we brought someone from a body which has been trying to always get the money in the pockets of the artists, despite all the wrangles, despite all the problems with the guys who should pay the checks, despite all the complaints from the artists. This is the CEO of MCSK, Mr. Simiyu himself, in the building. Karibu sana, Mr. Simiyu.
Thank you, thank you.
Umekaribishwa sana.
Asante sana.
How is it going over there at MCSK?
Yeah, it's so far it's fine, although with a lot of challenges.
With a lot of challenges?
Yes.
Your team is working towards?
Yes. We, as you understand, the industries are now at a very advanced stage in terms of the business, in terms of the growth of the industry. So I think for the last 10 years, MCSK has invested a huge chunk of resources in terms of ensuring that people know about music, and even the users, the public, is now aware that for you to use music in any public place, you need at least to pay back to the artist who created the music. And
so many guys just hear about MCSK this, MCSK that.
Yes.
So many people don't understand what MCSK is. Can you just please tell us the mandate of MCSK?
Okay, purely the mandate of MCSK is to be able to collect royalties on behalf of the Kenyan artists who are members, musicians. Currently we have 15,000 registered musicians, and also we represent musicians all over the world, who we have what we call reciprocal agreements with societies across the globe. So ideally is that the music has no boundaries. So that is exactly what, as a society, what we do. And whatever we collect, we are only allowed to retain a percentage of which we call administrative cost, operational cost, and the surplus is now what we distribute to musicians, and this is distributed according to the value that each and every artist brings on board. Right. It's not just distribution across board. You can be a musician, but if you're not getting airplay, there are some other areas where you can be able to benefit as an artist. But it all depends on what value you as an artist you are bringing to the building of this economy in terms of airplay. For example, I'll give you a good example. Someone like South Soul, most of the music is listened across the globe
per se, yeah.
And you could not be able to compare with an artist who's not getting airplay. So in terms of pay, that artist is the value is high in terms of even the paycheck. So that's how now we do what we call the distribution. KBC, we look at the airplay that South Soul has received or have managed to get most of the stations.
Both audio, radio
and
visual.
TV.
All right.
And TV. And that cuts across to all the radio stations across the country. Now, whatever we collect from most of these stations now, is distributed across based on the airplay to most of the artists. For example, your top 20, top 50 within a month. Someone who's at the top with more airplays, if you give us a check of 100,000, definitely in terms of share, the one with the high airplay will be able
the
to
ratio has to
ratios has to apply. And that applies to all the stations. And every station has its own coefficient in terms of how much it is per airplay. And it depends on how much also each and every station is paying. And the rates and the tariffs are also different. When you look at the national broadcasters and also the regional broadcasters and also what we call the community-based broadcasters and institutional broadcasters, the rates in terms of the tariffs is different. So radio and also TV rates are also different. So whatever we receive is now is what is calculated across all the radio stations, and that is now forms what is payable now to an artist. So if you're not getting airplay, it means it will be difficult for an artist to be able to say, I'm a member. Yes, you're a member, but what value are you adding
to the community.
The community, to the business people. Like in public places where even the restaurants, the bars, discotheque. So these are the places where they play music. And the trend is that most of these people, they play what most of these mainstream media play. This station,
they pick it from the
you pick
mainstream
it from
media.
here. You look at the trend is that your top 10, you find that is what is trending in most of the clubs, trending in most of the matatus.
Yeah.
You go to the communities, the same thing. You look at the top 10 in like a radio station, in a community radio station somewhere in your rural area, is the same trend. You find that the top 10 is also what is being played in matatu, Kienda Kinyosi ni hiyo. So that is how it works.
But I gotta ask, say Sauti Sol, for example.
Yes, please.
As a case study.
Yes.
They are played in Nigeria or South Africa.
Yes.
The royalties come through MCSK from South Africa and Nigeria.
Let me say I was very happy one day when I had a visit in France, and I got someone from Burkina Faso who said, hey, my daughter listens to South Soul music. I was very happy. Because one is that that is the brand now. South Soul is a brand, it's a Kenyan brand that is doing so well in even across borders. So whatever happens is that we have agreements with those societies like MCSK in those countries. So those agreements help us now to be able to collect money for South Soul and bring it here in this country. And whatever we collect, we are supposed to remit it to him as part of the international royalties collected from others. For example, most of the songs of most of our icons, like the late Daudi Kabaka, now the
Ayub
one.
Ogada.
Yes, yes. And most of these artists, you find that they receive good listenership in most of the European countries. And whatever is collected or whatever is earned by those societies sent through MCSK. And those artists receive some good money in terms of foreign royalties. And the same thing, we also do the same. We send also a good sum of amount to societies like in PRS in London, where we have an agreement, and PRS represent most of the Commonwealth countries. So whatever
What's PRS in full before we carry on?
PRS is a performance rights society of England.
All right.
Yeah. So whatever we receive is that we share now that kind of information, and the same thing happens even in those countries and here. So now that one now gives leverage in terms of now doing business across the globe. And as you know, music doesn't have boundaries. The same thing happens even in Tanzania when we do most of the artists who get airplays in most of our radio stations. They also, we have agreements with a society in Tanzania called KOSOTA, which we do. We have a very good also agreement with a society in Nigeria called KOSON. And we do the same thing when we, most of the Nigerian works played in this country, in most of the radio stations, is also plowed back to those countries. Yeah.
And who are your, I know TV stations and radio stations as your
okay,
guys who finance
we
MCSK.
have 4 channels. We have a number of 4 to 5 channels of how we receive our royalties. One is broadcasting. Broadcasting is TV and radio. All radio. And let me tell you one thing. There's no station that doesn't play music. Music is a very major component in every radio station.
Radio station.
Yeah, station. So that's key. Then we have what we call performance in public places. Performance in public places means that if you have a business in any public place, that's a commercial place where the element of now public performance comes in. And for you to open even a small business like a kiosk and you put in music, that's when I will be able to come in. If you don't have music in your shop, we will not be interested to come and say, have a license.
So you guys move around to check
if
you guys are playing music, yeah?
And now that's where now the challenge comes in. As I said, the administration of collecting royalties in this country is a big challenge. MCSK has been in existence for the last 34 years. And these 34 years, it has not been easy. one is for MCSK for so many years creating awareness so that the users know why they need to pay for music, use of music. Two, to also allow musicians to know the benefits of music now. It's now one of the most lucrative careers when you look at what the industry holds at the moment. It's
so many
key.
millionaires per,
It is.
per square kilometer.
It is. Yeah, at the moment, it's a full profession. I've seen most of the musicians, the graduates, they've dropped even some
The
of
9
them
to 5
very,
jobs.
very good professionals, doctors. Have said no, we go
You
for
just
music.
want to do music.
Yeah, yeah. So that's when you find, okay, this is something that we need to. It's not just about something that you want to do just like passion. No, it's a profession. It's a business. Music is a business. What you need to do is just you need to professionalize it and make sure that now you can be able to benefit well. I want to give you a good example. The reason why I'm saying that performance in public places is a big challenge is that the cost of collecting monies from these places is very high.
It's very high.
Yeah, it's a labor-intensive kind of job. For you to be able to collect money from a kinyosi where you go every 1 week to make your hair, it costs us a lot of money. First, you have to do invoicing. You have to make a follow-up. If they have not paid, you have to send a demand notice.
So it doesn't make economic sense
It is
in
not,
the long run.
to me, I'm saying the government has not come in to assist to reduce that cost of collecting this money.
All right.
So that the artists should not be complaining about, we've not received, I've received royalties, but I think I deserve more. What do we do so that we can bring down this cost? That is the big challenge now where we're saying Kenya Copyright Board, the board that is mandated to be able to regulate the music industry in terms of ensuring that people know about what the musicians' rights are, ensuring that issues of piracy is well taken care of.
Plagiarism.
Yes, yes. I think they have, I don't know, is because of issues of lack of resources or issues of maybe issues of enforcement. They're there, they're existing under the Attorney General's office. But I think that's where MCSK has come in to bridge the gap for the last 34 years.
All right.
And if at all the government wants this body to run well and be able to look at most of these challenges it's facing currently, is that one, they need to assist MCSK to be able to collect these monies from these public places and from these broadcasters with very minimal cost. How are they going to do it? One, they should work on the issue of legislation, which will now be able to make it easy as a broadcaster. Before even you're also given a license to continue operating as a broadcaster, you need to comply to certain issues. And one of the compliance areas should be, have you complied with music? Because I want to tell you for a fact, there's no broadcaster who will say, I don't use music.
I don't play music.
I don't play music. It's not part of my core business. Yes. So if that is sorted out, it will be easy in terms of administration. I will tell you, we will even distribute 90%. Because my cost of collecting broadcasting, when you go to a country like South Africa, the highest income channel is broadcasting, followed by mechanical rights.
All right.
Performance in public places is a minimal collection. In Kenya, it's vice versa. Now we are collecting more from a distribution, from an income channel that is so much costly. The cost, the overheads in terms of collecting 100 shillings, in fact, is almost 60 shillings.
All right. The public places aside, are the broadcasters paying in Kenya? Are they paying their dues in Kenya, right here in Kenya, right now?
Not all.
Not all of them?
Not all.
What are the checks you've put in place to make sure that these guys are going to be paying their money so that the artists get to feed?
Okay, we have, like now first as MCSK, we had an agreement with the Media Owners Association, which was signed in 2010. And after a very long negotiation, years of sweat, boardroom meetings, but eventually we managed to have an agreement. Now, although the income is also small when you compare with other countries in terms of what they pay, but at least there was a breakthrough in terms of now compliance.
All right.
And I want to say that most of the mainstream broadcasters complied.
Comply now.
However, when you go to a country like Namibia, the main compliant body is a national broadcaster in Namibia. And that has made easy for that society to be able to operate.
All right.
In Kenya, the national broadcaster is not compliant. So that again now brings the challenges.
All right.
Because of, and we've been in talks, and the talks are still on. However, what I want to tell is that if at all if things are put in place where most of all the broadcasters pay, and at least we move from the current system where we're using a flat rate in terms of payment and go to a percentage based of what you are generating. Either we can do it through, say, is KBC, this is your generation per month in terms of income for a registration of, let me say, KBC as a whole. Then we take a percentage of your income, of your net or gross. For gross, it can be either between, and in most countries like in Namibia, is between, and in South Africa is between 8 to 11%. For the net is between 2 to 5%. It's something that we can sit down and agree. However, we have been having some kind of talks on that issue to see how we can be able to come to a conclusion or an agreement to that kind of a system. However, it's also something that most of the broadcasters are saying it has a lot of challenges in terms of administration. So we are still negotiating on that front. But currently, they're doing a flat rate, which we are moving on well with most of the broadcasters. And another issue is that we've not been also the issue of enforcement to most of the broadcasters that are not complying. You find that a case can take years and years. So we don't want to take the route where we push our broadcaster to a point where now it becomes a litigation issue. So we have dialogue.
All right.
We move on, and we see if you have a challenge, we sit down with you. We say, can you put in a payment arrangement where the two parties can be able to have a harmonious kind of relationship in terms of doing business.
All right. It seems like you have a business background. You understand the terms, the gross, the net. Yes. But the layman, the artist out there, doesn't trust MCSK. That's the reality on the ground. Okay. And why is this?
I want to tell that most of the artists, they need to find, first of all, they need to understand their company. I think there's sometimes I might say there's a cheap talk about the whole thing about MCSK.
Is it really a cheap talk?
I might say the cheap talk because, one, before you shout, you need first of all to go and get proper information. All right. This proper information can only be, you can access that kind of information from the right structures. Not from
you provide
unreliable
all the
sources.
information
you
like provide now all your books of accounts, all your
on our website. Every time we do our AGM, we do our audit accounts, we post them.
You post them online?
On our account, where someone can access. Two, we do what we call returns at the registrars of companies. And an artist, you are free. You can go there and say you want to make an application. I want to get a copy. You go through it and you raise questions.
Okay. Despite all these things happening, we had Elani last year complaining. It trended online.
Yes, yes.
Can you just clarify on your side, the other side of the coin, the MCSK side of the coin, what happened?
Okay, I understand the frustrations that were there at that particular time. It's all about the issue of the systems. You know, sometimes, you know, one of the things is that MCSK has not been doing well for so many years. It picked up. You admit that? Let me say, as I started saying, in terms of struggling to be able to put structures in place, you're not being supported by government.
All right.
Like the way KBC here, you're given money supported by government to be able to do a job. If I'm given resources of having every structures and everything in place, and you task me to be able to give service, I'll do that. But if I'm doing everything for myself, I'm meeting all the cost, I need issues of enforcement and
you
paying.
run on your operational cost.
Operational cost. And that's why I said, if it is sorted out, my cost of collecting money will be lower and artists will be able to earn more. Currently, it doesn't matter who is coming in. It doesn't matter who is going to be given a license. And I want to give you for assurance, even the two societies are still, Camp and Prisk, they have not managed even to break the 100 million collection. Yeah, that's still struggle. And these societies have been there in existence for the last 10 to 15 years.
Right.
So that's how the big challenge that is there in terms of administration, to see how most of these CMOs can be able to collect cheaper. On the issue of Elani, is that the complaints about the issue of monitoring, where you're coming in as an artist, I need to give you a statement of your account as a member, so that you know within a year, this is my statement, this is what I expected based on the airplay and from all the radio stations, and that kind of information, so that you can be able to check and see which stations did you do well in terms of benefit or in terms of royalties. And so at that time, there were two issues where the artists were saying, I think my music is getting good airplay. And also believe that I'm
it's
also
not about thinking. It was getting good airplay. We have to admit that.
Yes, you know, for you, it can be something that you say yes. But now, you might be shocked that most of even the artists who get good airplay in this country are foreign artists.
That's
Airplay.
true.
Yes,
That's true.
and I go there. Now, whatever you are given based on internally, we have a system called BMAT, Vericast. And that system is supposed now to, because most of these broadcasters, like now, let's say KBC, they're not giving us information, logs. When you give me a check, you're supposed to give me information with the logs,
right,
the airplay logs. Yeah.
Playing, yeah.
But you're not giving that kind of
They
information.
just give a check.
Yeah, give a check. So whom are going to pay the money? Why can't you comply and give me a check with the airplay? If you don't give me airplay, you bring a problem.
So
now,
do you take the check without the log,
yes,
or refuse the check?
They give a check without the log.
So are you supposed to take the check without the log, or refuse the check until you get the log?
Let me ask you a big question. If today I come here and say, you've given me a check of 100,000, I say, KBC, who are the beneficiaries? And you say, no. I think that is too much work. That's too much. I can't do that. What you do, get me an employee to come and sit here and to be stationed here, so that he can be able to do this job of getting this. So
getting the information.
Yes, the information. So we've said that now, because it is now an issue where the broadcaster is not willing to give us that information, we put up a system which is very costly. This system is called BMAT, which is managed by in Spain. It is mostly, when you look at most of the European countries, are using the system in terms of monitoring. So that kind of information is now, that system is what helps us now be able to monitor most of the stations ourselves. And that now brings the issue of the cost. Where I'm saying the government needs to come in and breach those kind of issues. Because again, it eats into the, what we call distributable amount that's supposed to go to an artist. Now, if the government was had put these kind of structures in place, or compel most of these broadcasters, when you are paying that check, you attach with the logs. Easy. You have evidence, you come to KBC, you get the information.
Does the law demand the broadcaster to provide the log? The law doesn't.
It doesn't.
But as the representative of the artist, can't you push for certain laws to protect the artist?
That's why we are saying the Kenya Corporate Board, the body that is mandated to in terms of administration of royalty collection in this country, is supposed now to push for this kind of legislation. I started by saying legislation. Let's look at legislation. Let's look at enforcement. Let's look at compliance if those people have not complied. What is going to happen? If today I'm sorted out about collecting money from your Kinyosi, I'll be good. If today I have an agreement with KRA to collect for me monies from Matatu, and it is put as a law that when you're going to comply paying your annual license with KRA, a music license is part of that.
Is there hope for this to happen?
It's doable. It's just an issue of the government coming in and saying, we are putting in legislation. Because at the moment, without a legislation, it's just a story. We'll have a meeting, boardroom meetings, we go, we say we'll meet next week, the same thing. 1 year down the line, the same thing.
All right, time is running out. There are issues I really need to address.
Yes.
Tell me about Mpake and the wrangles between MCSK and Mpake.
I want to say that as MCSK, we represent 15,000 members. This is a company formed in 1983. It's 34 years. We have over 15,000 members, and reciprocal argument over millions of artists we are representing all over the country, all over the world, I mean. Now, for a publishing company called Mpake, this is publishing is one of the rights. There are 4 rights in MCSK which we administer. As an artist, you have 4 rights. One is the composer, author, arranger, and publisher. Now, the publisher is the business aspect, where I've done everything. I don't have to be an artist to be a publisher. You can be a publisher, you register your company, and you look for musicians you can be able to represent in terms of doing business. You organize for them gigs, you do marketing of their stuff.
It's similar to the book industry.
Yes, you take their songs to most of the broadcasters for marketing and in terms of pushing for airplay. You organize for them concerts. Everything, as in, I'm a composer, I'm an artist. I don't have time. Who's going to commercialize my work? That's the publisher. Now, so this is an association formed the other day, and it was given, I think, in 2015 there. It has been given through the license. And the reason why they've been given a license is that there are regulations that says that someone can be given a license. However, the issue is where you look at the industry, where it has been. MCSK has been there for the 34 years, struggling. Until recently is when the people realized there are a lot of resources pushed in terms of creating awareness. Now, when things are starting looking up, people know about the industry, users know why they need to pay. They have planted, plowed, did everything. Now someone is coming in from nowhere, a business person, saying, okay, I want to claim the share of this pie.
All right. The middleman. The
middleman. I want to share the claim of this man. So it is, for me, I think, if there's a problem in terms of administration, in terms of management, deal with management.
All right.
Deal with administration. You cannot be able to come and say you distract a 34-year work that has even created the systems for the other bodies to exist. Even the same body, for that matter. So that's where the issue is. There are issues where they say, okay, which we complied. We were a bit late in terms of remitting our financials, but there were issues of technical issues, which one of the systems we adopted, the ERP system, accounting system, towards the end of the year, when we were generating our financial failed. To accountants, they know what it takes, the volumes in terms of receipts and in terms of payments. Doing that job in a different system, they know what it takes within a short time. We did communicate to Kekoba about the same issue. The second issue is that we also had challenges within the same year, which are about the issue of unfrozen of our accounts, which by that time we could not be able to access most of the bank statements to allow even issues of auditing to be done. However, all these kind of requirements were done, and we've done returns, audit accounts to Kekobo, with a list of the distribution which we did. And I also want to tell that we improved, because the other previous year we did 36%. This year we did 42%. That's an increment of almost 6%. And it's not easy to move at that level. We are supposed to get to 70%. And as I said, based on the system that we are using currently, the labor-intensive system, to collect the money, And where we are using less expenditure, we are not getting the money. That's the broadcasting.
All right.
If the role reverse, if I was receiving a lot of money from broadcasting, a good percentage, let's say my collection is almost 60% is broadcasting. I want to tell you, I will not even bother chasing Matatu to pay.
All right.
I would say this is an area that is costing me a lot of resources.
Okay, we are coming to a conclusion.
Thank you.
And I'd like you to use this camera right here.
Yes.
This millennial, the millennial artists, the artists that are coming up, breaking all the rules, making their money on the internet. Just convince them.
Okay.
To join MCSK, and then right after that, you'll tell us about where we can find MCSK online, the website, where we can find the logs, the information, the social media platforms. But for now, just tell that artist out there who has no faith whatsoever on MCSK if they can join MCSK, if they can register as members of MCSK.
Okay, I want to tell the young generation, the upcoming artists, that MCSK is your society. I want to assure you, in Africa, MCSK is among the top three societies.
All right.
In Africa. We might be having our own challenges, but in Africa, in East Africa, in East and Central Africa, we are number one. So that tells you that we are somewhere. So have faith in MCSK. Two, I also want to tell you that when you look at issues of royalty payment, as an artist, don't just complain. Do something. When you release a hit, you need to do more about creating awareness. You commercialize your work. Look for somebody to brand your work so that you can be able to sell. It's not just about getting a hit and you go for gigs and you think that's fine. No. Look at what South Soul is doing. They have a manager who is leading them on to do what they are doing. That's why they can be able to cut across the globe.
At least we have somebody in Kenya to look up to.
Yes. So they need to know that these are professional. It's not just an issue of a side hustle. You say, let me, no. Do it, invest, and this one is an issue of also investment. Because if you want to harvest, you need to, not just about issue of production and leave it there. Do production, look for ways on how you can be able to commercialize your work, look for a manager who can be able to do your stuff, and because you're a creative mind, that's what you can do best. Concentrate on creating and leave the business aspect, because you cannot be able to do all the hustle. You want to do sales, you want to do marketing, you want to run up, sell CDs, you cannot do that. You will get a place where you cannot even sit down and think about how you can be able to do more creation. Diamond is the same thing. He's branding himself. Yeah. And he has a manager. And most of the artists, I'm very happy sometimes when I call most of my artists who are doing well in terms of business, I talk to the managers. He picks the call and they say, talk to the managers. You explain everything, and the manager can be able to guide now the artist. So for me, the young generation, this is your society. They have been there. I've seen the likes of Daudi Kabaka, the late, who are still earning, the next of kin still benefiting from the same music they did so many years. As you need to come to your offices, which are across the country. We are in all the regions.
All the counties?
Not all the counties, all the regions. And registered. I'll say, like in the Western, we have 3 offices in West. 3 offices in Western. We have one in Bungoma, Kakamega. Operational offices. And then in Kisumu, we have Homa Bay, Migori, Kisii, and Kisumu. In Central, we have an office in Nyeri. We have an office in Nyahururu. We have an office in Thika. Mombasa, we have one office. Nairobi, we also have an office in town here along Moi Avenue, Veteran House, 3rd floor. In Eastern, we have an office in Isiolo, Meru, and Machakos. Rift Valley, we have an office in Kericho. We have an office in Nakuru and Eldoret.
LD.
Yes. So within those towns, you can be able to visit our offices and be able to. We can be able to log in www at mcsk.or.ke, where you can be able to get all the information in terms of our social accounts, and also be able to get information about our financials, tariffs to the users. If you want to know about if you want to make a payment, we have our tariffs there. We also have all our physical addresses for all the offices across
on the website.
On the website.
Yeah. Social media platforms. Are you on them?
Yes, everything is just on the
website.
On the website.
All right. Just one last thing for the motivation of the artist. The highest grossing artist in your last financial year.
6 digits. I don't want to name.
6 digits.
Yeah, sure.
No name.
No name.
Motivate my youth, bana.
No name. 6 digits. I'm not allowed to say.
Oh, you're not allowed.
But I want to say there's one who clocked almost 8 digits.
8 digits.
Kenyan artist. Skiza, 24 million.
24 million Kenyan
24 million earnings for 8 months.
For 8
That's
months.
Music. 8 months.
Music. So it's possible.
Music.
With MCSK.
Music has potential as an artist. Do good stuff, quality stuff.
Thank
Do
you
something
very much.
that can sell. Do something that can sell. Sometimes, you know, the youth, you know, you need to know who is your target market. And let me tell you one thing. There are people, there are youth who can do you can do a hit, but your target market, they're not consumers. If they don't consume, they don't want to spend, then you're in trouble.
Thank you very much, Mr. Simiyu. This is Why in the Morning. Talk to us on Y254 channel on Twitter, Y254 TV on Instagram, and Y254 on Facebook. Or you can hit up the main man himself. It's Barry Moore on every social media platform. Just talk to us. We'll head straight to the music, pushing the culture forward. Mr. Simiyu, asante sana.
Thank you
for coming. Thank you for talking to the people. Thank you for enlightening people.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Na tena, na tena, na tena.
Asante sana.
Straight to the music.